So this has been kind of interesting. I have some friends of mine that have been on the dating apps, and they're really, really struggling with it. And the thing that's interesting about it, because my friends are women, and the dating apps are actually very much in favor of women. They give them preferential treatment, and what's been happening to them is that they'll meet somebody on there, and then they'll have conversation, and then sometimes it'll go a little bit further and they'll get together, and then sometimes they do a little bit oversharing, if you know what I mean, and everything's going fine, and then all of a sudden they get ghosted.
Right.
And so I've had conversations with them, and I talk about so obviously these men are just seeing how many women they can hook up with, and then as soon as they achieve their mission, then they disappear and they're just unavailable. And so when we're talking about it, I just ask them, well, why do you think that you choose unavailable men? Why are you on an app where most of the time you try to put together a relationship and it ends up that the person's unavailable? Are you unavailable? Is this somehow that you want your relationship? Do you want to just be like that? You just want to see who you can hook up with? And are you unavailable? Are you really serious about finding a long-term, lasting relationship?
Right, right. Well, when you think about it, we just heard a statistic recently that there's 57 million people on Twitter.
Not Twitter, Tinder.
Tinder. Sorry.
There's so many different apps.
I get so confused over all the dating apps. But just think about that. 57 million people on Tinder.
Tinder, yeah.
So what are the odds, especially if you're just an average person? You didn't go down to the mall and have a glamour shot. I think men are getting to the point where they're so desperate they're going to start wearing makeup for their glamour shot. So maybe they have a possibility of even being chosen. And then the other thing, there's a group of guys that it's like, let's get a new notch in my belt.
Yeah.
And that's really sad. I think it's very demoralizing. I just don't see how these dating apps, for most people, the average person that doesn't look like Brad Pitt or whoever the flavor of the week is going to get a date. I mean, it just seems almost soulless to me.
Well, we have a really close friend of ours. He's in his 40s, he's a total hunk. He's super nice. He's a great guy, makes a lot of money. He's like, who wouldn't want him? He can't get a date. It's just insane. And like Wayne was reading the stats on Tinder, and it's like 1 out of every 1,700 people actually have somebody who says, oh, I'd like to meet you. 1 in 1,700. So the odds of that are just it's demoralizing. And then you're like, it's all about how you look, and it's just a crazy thing.
It's a crazy thing, and like in our world, in Relationship Nation, it's really about going analog.
Yeah,
it's like if you're old enough, you want to pull out your Rolodex. For all your younger people, you're going to go into your contacts. But, there's gold in there. People don't really realize that. And I think that what we want to do is get back to interacting with people where we're of like kind. And we can kind of go belly to belly and really find out about that other person. And that seems like it's become an art and a science now that in this swipe right society, it's crazy.
It's very difficult. And what's interesting too is how we advise our clients is that you need to go fish in the pond where you want to catch that fish. And that's like, so let's say that you are very active physically and you go to the gym and you do marathons or whatever you do, you kayak, whatever you do, go out and do that. Go out and do it in group and then meet people. And you might not meet your soulmate in that particular group, but you could get a referral from somebody who's in that group. And that's what we're talking about. This is a referral-based
it's almost
activity.
Like a business.
It's like a business. It's like you've got your database, you've got your email list, you've got all this stuff, and go out and and be with people who are like-minded, because they're going to know people who are like-minded that you might not meet in that group. Or like with us, what happened to us is that we belong to the same church group, and we were in the marketing part of marketing the church, and we were just really, really good friends for like a year and a half. And then finally, after we did all the work, we discovered that we were actually a really good partnership. For us, we could make a great marriage, great relationship.
And so here we are,
yeah, here we are,
almost 30 years later, and it's been mostly unicorns and rainbows and a few clouds here and there, but every time we went through that, because of our skill set, because of therapy, all the different things that we worked on, and we probably spent over $100,000 on learning all the different skills, because it became very important to us. We were willing to invest in the time, in the skill sets, and we actually created a format that any person could use that would actually, you will probably get the same result as us. What we found out after we did that work separately, this is before we got married, is we were able to go, oh my God, you're the one.
Yeah.
and we were standing next to each other. But until we did that work, until we slowed it down and learned all the different skills that we would need to be able to identify someone that we could build a long-term loving relationship through thick and thin. I mean, we've gone through a lot, but that took time. It wasn't like swipe right, swipe left. Oh, I'm going to text you. It's like, no, we need to go have a conversation, have coffee, spend time together, do activities starting with friends, groups.
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot of pressure off, but you're able to kind of watch that other person live their life and how they react to different circumstances. And so by doing that, we were able to go, oh, okay, that's a person that I respect. We have shared values, shared interests. We are different, but it looks like we could really make a life together, and because we had develop good communication skills.
And we were in proximity. I mean, what happens if you meet somebody on one of these dating apps and you live in California and they live in New York? It's like, how's that going to work? Is somebody going to quit their job? I mean, we've actually known people that have gone through that. How are they going to get together? It's a huge commitment to have to leave all your friends, family, and your job to move across the United States to be with this other person and make that financial, emotional, difficult commitment. For us, we're just like, you need to be in proximity. You need to be near each other, because there's plenty of fish in the sea. There are lots of people that, that you could have a great, loving relationship with. There's not just one person on the planet that's for you. There are great people for you.
Right. And they're probably within a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
I recommend that you need to be within 2-3 hours max of probably somebody, or you have the ability to get together, meet in between, or do whatever. But trying to just do it through text, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. You got to get belly to belly. You got to get to know these people. You need to see your potential partner under stress, how they react to that. Be able to need to work through stuff. If somebody ever ghosted me, I'll tell you what, I would never let them back in my life. No. They might be an associate, they might be a friend maybe if they earn their way, but the way technology works today and the way that email, text, all that is so superficial. It's like, why would you want to build a life with somebody that's the basis of communication?
And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because our friends that have done that, I mean, they are like heartbroken, and they've already gone through hell in other relationships. They don't need to be heartbroken because of this technology. It's like there are so much better ways of meeting somebody who's going to be really a great partner for you. You can get referrals from your friends because your friends know you. Right. And they'll go, oh, God, I met this guy, and I think he might be somebody you might be interested in. Would you like to go get some coffee or maybe have a drink or go to dinner together, all of us? And that's what we've done for a couple of our friends, and it's actually worked out really, really well for them.
Right. I got to tell a story.
Okay.
So years ago, when I was a contractor, I had a painter that worked for me, and he just went through a divorce, and it was like 2 years later, and he's out with his buddy. And they're sitting at the bar, and these two young gals come into the area, and my friend goes, hey, I'm really attracted to that one. And his buddy goes, yeah, and I'm attracted to the other. And then they kind of were talking, they go, you know what, we have really poor taste.
We don't know
Let's be a little counterintuitive. I'm going to go after the other one, and you go after the other one. See how that works out as an experiment. It ended up that one of them got married, and they had an incredible relationship because it was counterintuitive. Yeah. They just didn't, just like, I'm so attracted to this other person. They actually got to know this other person at a deeper level and made a long-term connection, and then eventually got married, and they had a successful relationship. So, it's just kind of funny how it works. You just need to have your options open a little bit more. Yeah. It's great to have standards, but you just don't want it to be like, oh my God, it has to be this.
Yeah.
And that was the way for us. I mean, we have an age difference. Freddie's 7 years older than I am, and it's been great. I like mature women. But there's a lot of things that come with that. So, just, be open a little bit more.
Yeah.
But have your definite values and standards and interests, lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to profiling, and we go through that in our master classes and stuff. But anyway, so I hope that helps. I know that's a lot to take in, and it's actually a pretty big subject.
It is, yeah.
But start working with your friends. Start asking for
referrals. Get referrals, yeah.
Get out there. We believe in you.
Go out there and find your mate.